morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position where the back of your spine, or not the back of your spine, your entire spine and the back of your neck can sit nice and tall, opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Let's gently close our eyes and soften any thoughts. Soften our eyes on how we look at the world. Soften our shoulders. Just relax, release the burden of the world for a few moments. And soften our heart. Have it be open and pliable to anything coming your way. Now observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale, and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is pause and replenish. Winter is a time to honor the natural stillness of the outer world and give ourselves permission to pause and replenish. There is a Danish word, Hyyge, that speaks to that intention. It describes a mood or a feeling of coziness and well-being. It's taking time away from the daily rush, especially after the holidays, to be together with people you care about, or even by yourself, and to relax and enjoy life's quieter pleasures. Consider Hyyge a coziness of the soul, focusing on simple pleasures like soup cooking on a stove, reading a good book, doing some board games, taking walks in nature. Bonus this time of year, no mosquitoes or ticks, and lots of candlelight. So for a pranayama, for speaking to this intention, I'm going to focus on Kumbhaka. And Kumbhaka is, it looks at the natural pause between the inhalations and the exhalations, and it expands that natural pause. So with your natural breath, you kind of inhale and then go right into an exhale. And Kumbhaka encourages you to inhale after the pause, or inhale and then pause, and then exhale and pause. And we'll be doing that once we start our asana practice. And before that, let's do a brief meditation. And meditation is all about pausing and replenishing. And you can invite Hyyge into your meditation practice by adding candles, which I did today. I put it up there so Oscar doesn't put his nose in it. And it's so adding candles, and you can add aromatherapy. So this just happens to be a very, very mild, lightly scented candle. And you can put on soft music, the whatever brings you coziness. And if you're looking to do aromatherapy, there's some scents like cedar and sandalwood that can or emphasize grounding. Just it assists you in grounding. And then, of course, there's lavender, one of my favorites for relaxing. So let's just take a few moments for meditation, and then we'll get into our practice. We're going to open our eyes and start our asana practice. And we'll start with Kumbhaka Pranayama, the breathing technique that focuses on pauses on the top of the inhale and on the bottom of the exhale. So bringing our fingertips to the sides, we're just going to slowly inhale. And you can choose if you want to use the Ujjayi breath as well, double pranayama. So we come up, and then we'll pause to the count of 3. I'll do it silently. And then exhaling, coming down. Pausing. Inhaling, opening our hands up. And pausing. And exhale, closing them in front of us. And pausing. Inhale up. And pause. And exhale down. And pause. You can really smell that candle. It's very nice. So again, inhale up. And pause. Exhale down. And pause. Inhale, open. Pause. Exhale, close. Pause. Inhale up. Pause. Exhale down. Pause. And we'll do that one last time. Inhale up. Pause. Exhale down. Pause. Inhale, open. Pause. Exhale, close. Inhale up. Pause. And exhale down. Pause. There we go. I forgot to say a few pauses, but I'm sure you had your own rhythm going there. Okay, so next we'll do a seated side stretch. We haven't done one of these in a bit. So for placing your fingertips out as far as you can reach, then we're going to bring, well, start with the left arm up. Left arm up, and then we're going to bring the right elbow down toward the mat. And then just tip our torso over to the side. And then come back up again. Bring our arm down to the mat. And we'll do that 2 more times. So lifting our left arm up alongside our ear. And then bringing the right elbow down toward the mat. Tipping our torso over to the right. And then coming back up again. Bringing the arm all the way down. And one last time. Arm goes up. Elbow goes down. Body tips to the right. And pause for a moment. And then inhale, coming back up, bringing the arm down. And if you have your legs crossed in front of you, just set them so that they're side by side. I have my right leg out in front. And we're going to walk our hands forward. And then just to the point where it's a nice, comfortable reach. And then bring both elbows down toward the mat, slowly lowering them down. And then if you can, just lower the forehead down toward the mat. And then we'll lift our head and torso up, lift our elbows up, and walk our hands back. And we'll send our right leg out to the side, toes flexed up, keeping the left foot toward the inner thigh of the right leg. Then bringing the back of the right hand to the side of the knee. We're going to lift our left arm up again and slide our right hand down toward our foot. Again, tilting the body over to the right. And then we'll pivot our torso so that we're going to be looking at our knee. And then bringing our hands back up our leg. And as we bring our hands back up our leg, we're going to lift our knee up to the sky. Wrap the left arm around the knee, sending the right fingertips behind the hips and twisting our torso to the right. Alrighty, come back to center. We're going to switch legs. You can start off crossed if you like, left leg in front. And we'll do our seated side stretches. So bringing the left fingertips to the mat. The right arm comes up along our ear. And then we're going to send our left elbow down toward the mat, tilting our body over to the left. And then back up again, bringing the right fingertips back down to the mat. And we'll do that 2 more times. So extending the left fingertips out as far as you can, bringing the right arm up alongside the ear, bringing the left elbow down toward the mat, tipping over to the left. And then back up again. Hand comes down. And one last time, extending the left fingertips out. Right arm comes up alongside the ear. Left elbow down toward the mat, tilting over to the left. And then coming back up again. Bring your hand down. And then we're going to have our feet side by side, not crossed. So I have the left foot out in front, legs side by side, and walk the fingers out as far as comfortable as they're comfortable, as you are comfortable. And then we'll bring our elbows down toward the mat. And if you can, bring your forehead down towards the mat. And then lifting our head back up again, lifting the elbows back up, walk the hands back. Extend the left leg to the side. And we'll put our back of our left hand alongside of our left knee, sending our right arm up alongside of our ear again, and then sliding the left hand down toward the foot. We'll tip toward our foot. And then we'll pivot our body so that we are looking at our knee. Both hands are on our leg. And then walking our hands back up the leg. And as we walk them back up, we're going to bring our knee up to the sky. Wrapping our right arm around our left knee. Left fingertips go behind our hips, twisting our torso to the right. You can release and come back to center. And we're going to come up onto our hands and knees into tabletop. So with our wrists right below our shoulders, knees right below our hips, navels tucked to the spine. We'll do a few head turns. So sending our gaze straight down, so our spine and the back of our neck are nice and kind of straight. We're just going to turn our nose over to the right side and then back to center and have it flow over to the left side and flow back to center. Keep going over to the right side, flow back to center, then over to the left, flow back to center and over to the right, flow back to center, and then one last time to the left and back to center. And into cat-cow, so we're going to start with our cat by rounding our back, exhaling, dropping our head and tailbone down, really stretching out the spine. Yep. And then lifting our head and tailbone up, sending our gaze straight ahead for cow. And then exhaling again, rounding our back, sending our head down, tailbone goes down, really stretching out our spine. And then bringing our head and tailbone back up, sending the gaze straight ahead, keeping that weight in our hands, even distribution of weight. And we'll just keep going, creating a nice flow. You can pause it at the end of each inhale and exhale, going at your own pace. And then we'll do one more, coming back to center. And once we're back to center, back to tabletop, we're going to send our knees out to each side, bringing our big toes together. And then sending our hips down to our ankles, and our arms can be stretched out front for wide-legged child's pose with arms extended, or you can bring them along the side of you if that feels a little bit more cozy. And then keeping your legs where they are, we're going to come up onto our hands and knees, or yes, onto our hands and knees, and do thread the needle. So with our knees at the edge of the mat, big toes together, we'll sweep our right arm up to shoulder height, and then sweep it down and alongside of the mat over to the other side, bringing our right shoulder down to the mat. And with your left hand, you can either keep it on the mat or bring it to the back of your hips. Or if you like to open up your chest a little bit, send that hand up to the sky. And then bring the left hand back down. And come back onto your hands, keeping your legs in the wide-legged pose. And then we'll send the left arm up to shoulder height and sweep it down along underneath our torso over to the left, or to the right side rather, bringing the left shoulder down to the mat. And you can keep your right hand either on the mat or your hips or up to the sky, opening up your chest. And then bring the right hand back down to the mat and come back up and come back to tabletop with your knees right under your hips. We'll tuck our toes under and walk our hands back, coming to the balls of the feet into a squat, and then pushing down, coming up into mountain pose. Our big toes are going to point toward the straight edge of the mat. We'll lift our toes up off the mat, bringing them down, lifting our heels up off the mat, and then bring them down and really feel that connection, that grounding, the earth below, the snow in between. And for mountain pose, our legs are nice and straight and strong with a gentle flex in the knees. Navel's tucked to the spine. Spine and back of the neck are nice and long. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked back ever so slightly. And the crown of the head reaches to the sky. We'll sweep our hands up and overhead with a big inhale. And then exhale, bringing the hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go, support our lower back. And then bring our hands to our shins, flattening out our back, creating a nice straight line between the tailbone to the back of the neck, or back of the head, rather. And then crown reaches down toward the mat. We'll just let our hands relax and dangle in the air. Let gravity take over here for a moment. And just check in with yourself, see how you're feeling. And then sweep our hands all the way up overhead. And as we bring them up overhead, we're going to come up onto our tippy toes. Baby. Up onto our tippy toes. Cue toes. And then, oops. And then we're going to lower our hands back down. As we lower our hands, we're going to lower our heels back down to the mat. We'll do that a couple more times. So lifting our hands up to the sky. As we do, lifting up onto our tippy toes. And then slowly bringing our hands back down. Slowly lowering our heels back down. And then one last time, sweeping our hands up as we come up onto our tippy toes. Really stretch our hands up to the sky. And then slowly bringing our hands back down and coming back down on our heels. Bringing our hands all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. And then we'll bring our hands to our shins, really flattening out our back and back of our neck. And then send the crown of the head down toward the mat. And sweeping our hands up overhead. Our hands will come together. And then the palms will come down to heart center. And then we're going to lift our right leg up as if it's seated in a chair. And then take our right hand and guide it over to the right. And then back to center. And lower it back down. We'll do that on the other side. So taking a big inhale, sweeping our hands up and overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. We'll lift the left leg up as if it's sitting in a chair. Then taking the left hand and guiding the leg to the left. And then back to center. And releasing that. Again, sweeping our hands up overhead. Palms come together, and then we're going to send our palms all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Then palms come to our shins for half forward fold, nice flat back. And the crown of the head reaches down toward the mat. We're going to place our left hand in front of our left foot. Bend the left knee toward the left elbow, keeping the right leg somewhat straight. Remember, keep a little flex in your knees at all times. And then sweeping the right hand all the way up to the sky. And you can follow your hand with your gaze if you want. And then bringing the right hand back down. And we'll switch sides. The right hand goes in front of the right foot, bending the right knee toward the right elbow. Left leg is somewhat straight with a little flex in the knee. And then we're going to sweep the left hand all the way up to the sky, sending our gaze with it. And then bringing the left hand back down. And then sweeping both hands all the way up to the sky. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And palms come to the back of the hips. Fingertips pointing down toward the ground. Feet about hip width apart. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked toward your chest. And then gently release your shoulders back, coming into a supported back bend. Keep that breath flowing nice and evenly. And then coming back up to mountain pose. Well done, everyone. Okay. We're going to, from mountain pose, lift our right leg up and then send it behind us as far back as you possibly can. And this, we're going into a wide-legged stance, and I'm going to emphasize the wide part today on that. So theoretically, that your feet are right below your wrists, so it's quite wide. And we'll try to maintain this wideness throughout the next several poses. So we're going to bring our hands to our waist, and then tucking our navel to our spine. We're going to pivot forward. So we're kind of in a half forward fold position. You bring your hands down to the mat and walk your hands over to the right foot and then back to center, and walk your hands over to the left foot and then back to center. And then we'll walk your hands out just a little ways out in front of you, and then try to bring your elbows down toward the mat. And you just go as far as you find that sweet spot of effort and relaxation. And then we'll walk our hands back underneath us, bending our knees. We're going to bring our hands back to our waist and then bring our torso up to the wide-legged stance position. And then we're going to lift our arms up to the sky in a star pose. And we're going to create a little bit of effort here. So if you can take your hands, make them into fists, and feel like you're pulling something down, like a rope or bar, bringing it down, making muscles into a goddess or into a goalpost arms. That's what I'm looking for. And then we'll bend our knees, coming down into goddess. And then on the way up, we're going to be pushing that post up to the sky. So your arms are very active, very energized. So again, fists pulling down, bending our knees as we go. And then turning around, pushing up with our arms coming back up to star pose. And one last time, really pulling that strong, really making your muscles coming down. And then pushing back up with a lot of energy. And then we're going to bring our arms to shoulder height, pivot our feet to the left, and try to keep that really wide stance. I know it might be a little bit wider than you normally go in Warrior Two. Coming into Warrior Two. And then we'll send our gaze to our left fingertips. And then drop the right hand back, lifting the left hand up for reverse warrior. And as you lift the left hand up, just straighten out the front leg. And then coming back to Warrior Two, bending the knee again. Bringing that knee over the ankle. And we'll do this kind of reverse warrior dance. So again, sending the right hand down, left hand goes up, left leg straightens out. And then bringing it back down, coming back to Warrior Two, knee over ankle. And one last time, right hand goes down, left hand goes up, left leg straightens up. We'll pause here for a moment. And then coming back down to Warrior Two. We'll place the left forearm on the left thigh, sweeping the right hand up to the sky, sending our gaze up to the hand. And then bringing that right hand down to the mat, pivoting to come into runner's lunge. We'll bring the left foot back to join the right foot, coming into plank pose. We'll slowly lower down, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping our elbows tucked to the side. And once we've landed, we'll bring the elbows under our shoulders and come into Sphinx pose. So our chest is nice and open, a lot of energy in our legs, tops of our feet. Gaze is straight ahead. And then we'll bring our hands right under our shoulders, elbows tucked to the side, and push down, lifting our chin and chest up. We'll come into Cobra. And then we'll flip our toes under raise our hips up to the sky, coming into downward dog. We'll pedal out here for a moment. And we'll lift our right leg up to the sky and then bring it back down, pedal out. And lift the right leg up to the sky again and bringing it back down, pedal out. And one last time, lifting the right leg up to the sky and then bringing it back down, pedal out. And we'll slowly walk our feet up to our hands, coming into forward fold, and then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center, and we'll go into tree pose. I love this pose for pause and replenish. Just hits all of that button. So any height you like, except at the knee, for your tree pose. And then release. All right, we'll do that on the other side. Actually start down here. So sweeping our hands up overhead, palms come together, palms come down to heart center. We'll lift the left leg up, and then we're going to send it as far back as we possibly can, coming into a wide-legged stance. Emphasis on the wide. And then we'll gently bend our knees a little bit, putting our hands on our waist and pivot our torso forward so that it's a nice flat back. We'll send our hands down to the mat and we'll walk our hands over to the left side and then over to the right side. And then back to center. And then we'll walk our hands out in front of us just a little ways. And then bend our elbows down toward the mat. And in this, I can feel that I can actually come into a little bit of a wider stance. And then we'll walk our hands back to underneath us, bend our knees, send our hands to our hips, send our torso straight up, and we'll do those pull downs and push-ups with invisible bar. So starting off in star position, we're going to make fists, grab onto that bar and hold it down as we bend our knees. Link into goddess. And then push that bar back up to the sky. And do that 2 more times, grabbing that bar, really pulling it down, creating muscles, and then pushing back up. And one last time, really pulling that bar down, coming down, and then pushing it back up, all the way up to the sky. And then bringing our arms down to shoulder height. We're going to pivot our feet to the right, come into that really wide stance for warrior 2. Sending our gaze to our right fingertips. We're going to lower our left arm back, raising the right hand up to the sky, And straightening our right leg as we go. And then back down to warrior two, knee over ankle. And then 2 more times, left arm comes down, right arm comes up, right leg straightens up. And then back to warrior two, knee over ankle. And one last time, left arm comes down, right hand goes up, right leg straightens out, and we'll pause for a moment. And then bring the right forearm down to the right thigh, sending the left hand up to the sky. And if you'd like, send your gaze up to the left hand. And then bringing the left hand down to the mat, pivoting into more runner's lunge. And then sending the right foot back to join the left, coming into plank pose. And we'll lower down, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, keeping our elbows tucked to the side. And sliding our hands forward, so our elbows are right below our shoulders, coming into Sphinx pose. Nice, energetic Sphinx. Chest is open, heart is open. Bring our hands below our shoulders, elbows tucked to the side, lift the chin and then the chest, becoming up into cobra. And then tucking our toes under, lifting the hips up to downward dog. You can do that from your knees or from your toes. We'll pedal out here for a moment. And then we'll sweep our left foot up to the sky. And then back down to downward dog and pedal out for a moment. And then again, sweeping the left foot up to the sky. And then back down again, pedal out. And one last time, sweeping the left foot up to the sky. And then bringing it back down and pedal out. Then slowly walk your feet up to your hands, coming into forward fold. And then sweeping your hands all the way up to the sky. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And we'll come into tree pose of your version. Either toes on the mat, heel on the ankle, or foot on your shin, or up to the thigh. Find that. Oops. That nice stillness that tree pose offers. Just like the trees outside, they're going through the winter, pausing, but replenishing. Oops. And you can release. It's my foot doesn't want to stay there. And we'll bring our pinky toes to the edge of the mat, tucking our Heels in at 45-degree angle. Hands come to heart center, and then we'll lower down to the mat, opening up our knees, bringing our torso between the knees and the elbows to the inner part of the knees. Wide-legged squat. And then we'll bring our sit bones down to the mat. And I'm just gonna bring a little blanket, my towel there, because the floor, I don't know if you can see, the floor dips off here. And I feel like I'm at a disadvantage when I'm trying to do this next pose, leaning back too much. So we're gonna come into staff pose. Staff pose, and our legs nice and straight, flexing the knees, toes pointing up to the sky. Our spine and back of our neck are nice and long and straight, real L shape for staff pose. And then we'll bring our right foot to the inner part of the left thigh. And you can do this any way you want. One way of doing it is we can start with our left foot on the mat and knee bent, and bring our hands down to the foot. So it might start off here or there, wherever you can start. And then we're going to slide that left foot down as far as it can go, and send our gaze down to our knee. And then we'll slide our hands back up our leg, come back to staff pose. We'll do that on the other side. So bringing the left foot to the inner part of the right thigh, nice straight back. You can start with a bend in your knee, holding onto your foot, and then just sliding your foot down as far as it reaches comfortably for you, and sending your gaze to your knee. And then we'll slide our hands back up our leg, come back to staff pose. I will do this with both legs now. So if you'd like to bend both legs up, hands on both feet, sliding the feet down to the end of the mat. And then we'll send our gaze to both knees. And then we'll slide our hands back up our legs. Move this now. And we'll roll down to our back. You can either have your knees bent, knees straight, hands tucked under your knees for express method. I'm actually going to do express method. So I'm just going to tuck in, bring the knees to the chest. Interlace your fingers around your knees and give your knees a nice hug. Rock your back, massaging your lower back. And we'll draw big circles with our toes going one direction and then the other direction. Placing both feet on the mat. Our arms come alongside of us with the palms facing down to support us. We're going to do some leg lifts, and this will be your option too. The straight higher up your knees are to the sky, we'll put it that way. There'll be a tension on the core, but if you adjust it and bring your knees down toward the mat a little bit more and try extending your legs and back out, you'll feel how the tension starts to build up in your core area around your abdomen there. Maybe bringing it down a little further toward the mat. Feel that. And maybe even further down, extending your feet, feel that. So choose which height works for you. And we'll do a couple of these. So you'll lift up. We'll do count to 10. So that's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then bring both feet to the mat, about hip width apart. We're going to bring our arms out to each side. We'll do some somatic windshield wipers. So we're going to dip our knees to the right, turn our head to the left, look at our left fingertips, and flip our left hand so the palm's facing up to the sky. And then bring the knees back to center. We'll drop them to the right as we move our head to the left, and our hands are going to flip so the right palm reaches up to the sky, left palm is facing down. So knees back to center, moving them over to the right side, moving our head to the left palm goes up, right palm goes down. We'll create that nice even flow. We'll just go back and forth, the nice flow. You can pause when your knees are down, or just keep the flow going, up to you. A couple more. Nice and gentle, just like a gentle snowfall that's falling outside my window. Just easily come down. And then we'll come back to center. Slide our feet down to the bottom of the mat, prepare for Shavasana. Arms come toward our torso, palms facing up. Feet are in each corner, relaxed. You take a few deep inhales through your nose and just go, Take this sigh again, releasing through your mouth. Inhale through your nose again. Relaxing, sighing. And one last time, inhale. And exhale through your nose and through your mouth. This morning's poem is by Bethany Rivers, and it's titled White Fire. The silence of me looking out at the world from the doorway, and you looking at me looking out, letting in the cold and not minding for once. The icing sugar coating over so many houses, sheds, and cars, quilting the fields. The snow still falling softly now, lazily, every flake taking its time, enjoying the last freshets of air, whilst deciding where and how to kiss the ground, or the fence post, or the branch, or another snowflake. The silence beckons. But slowly I balance on the threshold, unsure whether to go walk in the crisp snow and footprint a new story on the world, or turn back to the warmth within, back to the open fire of splitting logs and blushing coal and sofa chairs that sink a little and swallow your weight. But the indecision is also delicious. An in-betweenness of outside, inside, and you looking at me, looking at the world.